And welcome, everybody. Welcome to Flow Friday. It is is it 39 we're up to now? Uh,
38.
38? 38. Okay,
Yes.
fantastic. Hey, welcome, everyone. Today's session, gee, what a week it's been in AI. I'm sure many of you are keeping up to date with some of the changes. Probably the one that most are aware of is the latest release from OpenAI with the most incredible image creation that's available through the latest version of ChatGPT. Only available in the actual via the site itself. It's not currently available through the API, but we're looking forward to that coming through so we can utilize that in Raya. The interestingly, something that happened at the same time was that actually Google's Gemini model got released, and then OpenAI suddenly released their image generation. So and we also saw a new open source model come out from DeepSeek as well. So I think we can look forward to these like massive releases happening, and it gives us some insight that OpenAI has been building products and they're sort of holding off on them until such time as like Google does a release, and then they'll quickly overshadow it by producing something maybe more amazing. The new model from Gemini is just remarkable with how it can do 3D animations. It's so clever, but I think the utility from OpenAI for most people with the image generation is going to be huge. It certainly probably puts any stock image sites at risk as a result. There's certainly things changing there. But you know what? When we look at things that are changing as well as some of the forecasts with task handling from AI and the language models along with agents being combined with them. The current forecast is that by 2026, 5 hours of very complex work will be able to be achieved within 20 minutes, and that by 2027, 8 hours of complex project task work will be able to be completed in 20 minutes. So this means that there's a lot of changes going to occur. We already knew that around the way that people are actually going to work. Because when you can do, a full day's work, complex tasks, all combined together and executed and completed within 20 minutes, our roles significantly change. And it's not just the fact that the work is going to be done by the AI, it's the next part of how we continue to learn and change the way that we learn because we've been saying this for a while now, right? That we'll be orchestrating a whole range of AI agents to support us in the work that we're doing. And so there's this shift required, and it's often asked, what do students need to learn in order to prepare for the future? And there's two key attributes. One is critical thinking. That's going to be really important. And then agility, the ability to actually adjust with all these changes that are going on. So critical thinking and agility become a high priority. And yet, interestingly, those are not two aspects of the current education system. And so, whatever we can do to be helping people with critical thinking and agility is really important. Now, part of that comes down to feedback, right? You need to get feedback on the work that you're doing in order to be able to further improve. And interestingly, in a leadership meeting only yesterday within our organization, this was a major topic of conversation. And we ourselves, and like every organization, if it's not happening, should be going through digital transformation constantly. Like digital transformation is not a one-off event; it's just a continuous evolution inside an organization. And so we propose that we need to start seeing that all of our meetings are getting recorded and that AI agents are then doing their work in not just like the meeting analysis like we see from some of the meeting recorders, but actually giving feedback around frameworks to help people level up in their knowledge, in their critical thinking, and preparing themselves to be making the changes that they need to make. So today's session, we're going to actually explore that. Like, how could we we look at the business from a different perspective and start to be really, the word I want to use, caring for our team, right? To make sure that they have the critical thinking and the agility required to progress forward. So some of you might have seen this model that I've shared before, where we look at organizations that scale well and where some of the things that need to be true to be able to scale. Like an organization that scales has got a vision, a mission and purpose, values. And then I've put this item here that's rare to see, which is the overarching frameworks. Now, it's the frameworks that then give us the guidance and structure so that when we are developing our critical thinking and our agility, we've actually got some safety there. It's not all over the shop that we're pointing. It's actually utilizing frameworks to support us to progress forward. And so in today's session, I'm going to share with you in the activity and the worksheets and supporting documents, a transcript from a training session that I did yesterday with some of our AI automation engineers. And we're going to analyze it, see how I go. And we're going to use some frameworks to get there. So nice if you could share today's assets. We've got our Flow Friday training session analyzer. We've got the actual transcript from the meeting with the AI engineers, and also an image that we'll use that was generated from ChatGPT, which was around a Zoom meeting. And so let me go to our worksheet for today. Excuse me, that's the transcription. Here's our worksheet for today. So with this one, it's a training session analyzer. We're going to go.
Go. Matt, I'm sorry you got that on.
Did we lose the audio? Is the audio back now? Cool. Sorry, it's actually my batteries ran out on my headset. Okay, so we've got this challenge that occurs regularly. We do the trainings, but what's the quality of the trainer? How well did the trainer go? Do they get any feedback? And the reality is that very rarely do we get high quality feedback. And even if we do, the person that's giving the feedback, if they're not a professional in that zone, if they're not using frameworks, the way the feedback comes may not be as effective as it possibly could. But what if you could have experts that were trained in a range of different high quality frameworks to give that feedback? Well, then it's possible. Now, I'm just going to come back to this point. This is going to be really critical for all of us and our team members, that we're constantly getting high quality feedback so that we're progressing the critical thinking and the quality of the work that we do in preparation for, as AI agents are orchestrating more work, we're moving higher up the strategic ladder with the type of impact that we're having within an organization. And so, but the only way you get there is if you can get the feedback loop, right? So you can get the continuous education. So this is the starting point of this, where we'll run it through a workflow, but the evolution is to where this starts to happen automatically in an organization, and that feedback is coming after every session in a structured format that's really useful. And then over time, further analysis as well to show how the person's progressing. It's pretty exciting times. By the end of this year, it's going to be wild. And the speed of learning as well. So here are some of the frameworks that I've selected for today. McKinsey's 7S framework. Now, big shout out to Razul, because Razul sent through some cool info to me only last night, was it? And so I've utilized that in this concept here. So with the 7S framework from McKinsey, it's looking at, from a shared value perspective, strategy, structure, system, style, staff, and skills. Then there is Deloitte's simply irresistible organization, which looks across meaningful work, great management, fantastic environment, great opportunity, trust and leadership. And then put in here Paul Elder's critical thinking model. And so each of the agents that we'll use today have been created, designed based on these with some additional prompting in them as well, so that those particular frameworks are very clear for the agents to work with. Now, there are actually 5 agents that we'll utilize today. There is the, as mentioned a moment ago, so there's the McKinsey 7S model expert. We've got the Paul and Elder critical thinking expert. We've got the Deloitte's simply irresistible model expert. And then we're adding in here the meeting action item expert and a high performance feedback coach. So that when we're doing the analysis of this particular transcript, we're also going to look at, hey, what were some of the action points, and overall, what's some high performance coaching feedback as well. Now, so what's new today is rather than going off and creating each of these agents, we're simply going to copy them into your account because they're pre-built for you. So in your worksheet here, if you just copy that link and head on over to the link, which is also available on the website from the AI solutions area under AI agents, you'll actually see these agents that I built for you this morning. So once you get to those agents, you then click on View Agent, and it will deliver you the summary of that particular agent, even when it was created or updated, so just an hour ago. All you need to do now is actually click on Copy Agent, and that's going to absorb it into your account. Now, in the upcoming weeks, there's going to be, you won't need to do this from the public website. It'll be inside Raya. And also for anyone who's getting started, as part of our onboarding program, you'll be able to select all the different agents you like and put them into your account. So expect to see lots of amazing agents coming your way very soon and easy to add into your accounts. So if you could please go through that step of copying each of those 5 agents into your accounts. It's the first 5 that appear: the high performance feedback coach, Deloitte simply irresistible model, meeting action item expert, the critical thinking expert, and the 7S model expert. And once you've done all of those, pop a 1 in the chat. So you view the agent and then copy the agent. So I'll give you a minute or so to copy those agents into your account. Ryan is first out the gate. Well done, Ryan. And for those that are just joining, just recapping here, the activity is, rather than creating agents this morning, we're going to copy them into our account. And so we'll go to the public view of the Raya website, which I'll pop that link in for those who are just joining as well, to make it easy for you to find. And once we're here, you'll see the ability to actually copy these into your account. I can see how you're all progressing well. There's 21 so far. So we're making some movement. That's great to see. And so when you go to each of those agents, you simply select View Agent and then copy the agent into your account. But you will need to do this step in order for the next steps to work. So please make sure you're copying those agents in. You can see the numbers coming up. We're making our way through. And so I'll continue copying those in. So for me, what I've learned over the years is that when you have a clear framework, it gives you guidance, gives you safety. And also, there's just so many different ideas that it's challenging for the human to absorb all those ideas, right? The forgetting scale kicks in pretty quick. You know, that I'm a big fan of the forgetting scale, at least fan of understanding it so that we can then design approaches to help support people to have the efficacy within their learning. So we lose 50% of our knowledge within 1 hour. So it's something new that we learn, and 90% within a week if we're not reinforcing that learning, if we're actually not applying it. And so, you know, we could study a framework, we could learn it today, but unless we're applying it regularly, we won't actually absorb it. And so it's not going to impact the way that we actually work. So do they go to private organization doing this copy? That's a great question, Ryan. I need to double check that. Maybe Jen can answer that. Should by default be private before it goes to Richard, how much do you lose in 62 years? Isn't that frightening? I'm 47, about to be 48. And I think about, man, how many books do you pick up and read, get super inspired? Yeah, I'm going to totally apply everything. And then 12 months later, you realize that you haven't. And then you go back and read the book again and go, oh, wow, there's just so much good work in there. And so what I firmly believe is that we're actually going to speed up our learning zone. In fact, if I was having a bit of fun with Deputy this morning, which is coming soon. Okay, we're not far away for our new installable app, and which has the local models, and will also have the computer browser use in it for computer control, and using the Llama 3.13 billion parameter model, I think it is, that we're using here. And I was just going through having a chat with it around the difference between systems and processes, and it was just excellent. I love the responses that came out. And I found myself in that moment of going, oh, you can see how learning will improve so much faster when we're constantly interacting with the AI, because we get right to the knowledge really, really quickly. And so I'm super excited about the potential for both students as well as us as team members at work, that our level of education is just going to spike when we're embracing this just all the time, and our interactions. Okay, we're gonna move on now to the next step. So once again, all the instructions are there. So in our worksheet for today, you can absorb each of these agents into your account by clicking onto them and selecting the copy agent. Now, the next step we're going to do is build a workflow. So I'm just going to put my instructions over here on the right and Raya on the left. And we're going to create the workflow. So you'll notice the navigation, for those that, if you haven't been here for a week or two, navigation is now on the left-hand side rather than on the top. And with that on the left-hand side, just simply click on workflows. And we're going to select build new workflow from the top here. Now, all we need to do is copy and paste the purple writing. So the name of this workflow is the training session analyzer. We'll paste that into the name area. And then for the description, I've just put here, use a range of expert frameworks to analyze a training session and give feedback to the trainer. So with that done, select create, and it will take us through to our workbench, where we're now using some new terminology around the task. So each of these blocks is a task, and we're going to give each of these a title, instructions, and then add an agent. They're the steps that we'll do today. So the first title is the McKinsey 7S model. And we're going to keep this super simple. As flow engineers, we're taking the innovator's mindset, which means that we're just like scientists. We're going to create a hypothesis. run the experiment, review the outcome, then make adjustments as required to get what we're after. I'm just going to go straight with generate those instructions rather than doing any structured prompting to it. And it comes out here, the overview: apply the McKinsey 7S model to systematically evaluate the structure and effectiveness of the training session by examining the 7 interconnected elements of strategy, structure, systems, shared values, skilled style, and staff. Utilize automated data collection and analysis tools to gather insights, identify areas for improvement, and generate comprehensive feedback for the trainer. Sounds pretty good. Sounds like it's on point. And then gives more detailed instructions around the 7S model, and then delivers a definition of done for that particular activity. Okay, it's looking good. Let's now allocate the agent, which is our McKinsey agent for the 7S model expert. So I'll assign that agent. And we can now go on to task 2. So to add task 2 on your block, there's a plus sign at the base. Select the plus sign, and then that task block will be selected, and we'll go back to the task itself. And the next task we'll put in here is using our Paul and Elder critical thinking expert. So I'm going to put that in. And then same thing, let's just click on generate to run, to create the instructions for this particular step. And once again, it's taking this consideration of the analysis that's required for the trainer. So it's bringing in that context of this particular workflow, and analyze the provided training session data utilizing the critical thinking framework to generate comprehensive feedback for the trainer, focusing on enhancing critical thinking skills and instructional effectiveness. Because now as a trainer, we need to start thinking about how will we evoke this critical thinking within our teams, noting that in a couple of years' time, so much work is going to be done by the AI. The differentiator will come into the critical thinking, drive and agility of the human, because the AI isn't going to go off with drive and take these actions and start to bring the critical thinking together. That's the human's role. And it's why, we used to say about 2 years ago, we started saying, we're an AI first organization. And recently we've just scratched that out and said, that's actually not the case. We're an AI enabled organization. And we will constantly ask ourselves, how can we use AI? But it's not AI first. It really is people and technology. It's people first and enabled with AI. Okay, some great instructions there. Let's add that agent, which is our critical thinking. Which I've called Paul. It's just Paul, but that's our critical thinking expert. I'll change that name so it updates. Then we've got our next step to add, which is the Deloitte Simply Irresistible Model Expert. So let's add another task. And we'll go and add in the Deloitte Simply Irresistible Model Expert. And we'll generate the instructions there. And great, it's nicely, very consistent in how it's delivering it, understanding the context of the overall workflow. So it's doing a great job. And we'll add the agent, which is our Deloitte agent. Sorry, Deloitte, your consulting revenues just dropped, hey? Where are we there? Irresistible. Susan, okay. And with Susan allocated, we'll now go on to adding in our meeting action item expert. So we'll add in that task, in the title, and we'll generate the instructions. Identify, categorize, and document action items generated during a training session by utilizing AI algorithms to analyze meeting transcripts. Ensure that actionable insights are derived and organized for follow-up, enhancing the efficiency and effectiveness of the training process. That looks good. And definition of done, training session transcript is accurately converted into text format without significant errors. Well, we will have already applied that. All identified action items are categorized and prioritized, structured report detailing action items responsibilities. The report is successfully sent to the trainer. We won't be doing that as an execution step, but we will add that further in a future session, which is one of those ideas. And then feedback for collecting rather usefulness, clarity of the report for continuous improvement. That looks good. Okay, we'll add that agent, which is the meeting expert. Now, I think because as we're adding them in, I didn't get the names right. So let me double check that. Meeting action item expert. There it is, meeting action item expert. I'm just going to update our instructions there. Meeting action item expert. And then the final step will be our high performance feedback coach. So let's add in this final task step here, our high performance feedback coach will generate those instructions. I'm really curious to see how the final coach step plays out in alignment to these other frameworks as well, because it looks like it's going to bring in some additional frameworks too. So that's pretty cool. Okay, the agent then is our high performance feedback coach. We'll assign that agent. And then from here in our instructions, you'll notice that I've got this image so that we can make our workflow look really attractive. And by giving it an image. So under the settings option at the top here, when you select settings, that will then take you through to workflow settings and the thumbnail. And so from your folder of the assets, download the Zoom meeting PNG. And then once you've downloaded it, click on the thumbnail, select the profile photo, and select your Zoom meeting. So these are all AI generated. So this is the ChatGPT's latest model. So it's pretty cool. I was really impressed with a very simple single shot prompt of please create a Zoom meeting image with 9 people. And this is what came out. So I think it did a great job. Once you've done that one, click on publish and just pop a 2 in the chat. For those at Go Team and Multiply Tech, please select this as private. For everyone else, you can do private first for testing and then publish it later on to the organization so that everyone can access it. All right, 22222 is coming through. Doing great, everybody. Keeping up the pace. Well done. And then now we've got to run it, see how it goes. Now, full disclosure, our meeting transcript was done in Microsoft Teams, and it would not download the full transcript this morning. So I've kind of gone through and copied and pasted that in. So we're going to see how this one goes. Hopefully I didn't miss too much of the transcript and having to sort of copy and paste sections from Teams, because it didn't behave so well this morning. So just for those, if you're using Teams, when you go to review a meeting, you've got this options here to download the transcript. You select transcript and download. Some Teams is not downloading the transcript today. So, even Microsoft had some bugs from time to time. So I went through to just select all, but when you do that on Teams, it won't allow you to actually paste the entire amount through. So you kind of need to do it in chunks. Naturally, that's not the best option. And the ultimate is also where we set up an automation to save those transcripts in a specific file location so that you can come back in and the agents will be able to automatically access it. So that's part of the coming soon moment. Okay, with that published, we're going to go over to the chat. And with our instructions, I'm just going to put, we'll upload. So if you haven't downloaded the transcript, which says meeting with AI engineers. Please download that file. And with it downloaded, you'll then simply use the pay-per-click item to insert from your computer. And I've got the, which I'm going to need to download the latest version as well, because I've just updated that. So do the same as everyone else. So I'll download it as Microsoft Word and now upload it to our chat from this PC. Upload that document. And I'm just going to put in here, please provide an analysis of the uploaded workshop transcript. We could select the workflow, but I'm just going to put that in. Analyzing. So what's happening at this point in time is that that document needs to be put into the vector database so that the AI can actually read it and understand it using retrieval augmented generation. Now, in this case here, I think maybe my workflow mode was off. So I'm going to turn that workflow on and regenerate. This is a new feature. I tested it yesterday and it didn't pick up the workflow. Okay, it didn't pick up the workflow. So what I want to do here is select the workflow icon and actually pick up that, that workflow that we've just created. So there's the training session analyzer. And we'll select that, select the workflow, and I'll just put, please analyze using the workflow. And then send that off. It's doing analysis and thinking. And we're now looking for it to pick up our workflow. Yep, workflow execution tool has been selected. And it's brought out the 5 steps in that particular process. So I can click on view details. I'm just going to minimize my navigation so we can watch it play along. And so that first step there is the McKinsey 7S model expert. So wait for that to kick off its execution. Now, I had this yesterday. Everyone else's was running fast and mine was running slow. Let's have a look. How's it going on your end? Is yours running fast? Running slow here too. That's interesting. You know, one of the things, I was actually on OpenAI's ChatGPT this morning. It was running super slow. I think everyone's hammering it with the image generation, having the time of their lives. So we could be having an API connection issue on the speed there. We need to say, please run again. There we go. Okay, 6 seconds in so far. 11 seconds. Okay, 12 seconds for a McKinsey analysis. They systematically evaluate and data collection reporting. All right, I think I'm going to need to upload that transcript again because it didn't actually give the result there. So I'm going to start a new chat because given that it wasn't behaving so well. So let's start a new chat, select the workflow specifically, and I'm going to add in the meeting transcription again. And from here, I'll now say, please run an analysis on the transcription uploaded. Okay, and we'll send that off. By the way, you're analyzing me, right? So I'm opening myself up to full feedback from everyone. So let's see how I go. Cool. How did I go, Bucky? How did I go, Anthony? Let me know. One's coming through now. That's performance review is about to occur. Mine's going super slow. Wow. Okay, we've got the analysis now. So we've got, yesterday's session was brought together very last minute with the team. And not surprisingly, it said findings, clarity of objectives can improve effectiveness and ensure resonate with the team. From the strategy part, structure, assessment, analyzing the design of the training session, including roles of trainers and participants. Findings, a clear structure can enhance participants' engagement, review the session. I'm not sure if our RAG is working as effectively as it needs to on this one. I was looking for a better output. Okay. It's looking like we need either some more specificity or the RAG isn't working as good as it should. So I'm going to try this next thing at the moment. I'm going to copy all that information. I'm going to quickly put it into a text file. Clean it up. And I'm going to start again with a new chat. And I'm going to select, I'll see if this one works the way I expect it to, and then I'll share it with you. Based on the transcripts below, please run analysis using the workflow. Hey, Jed, can you take a note of this? I think it's actually our workflow select is not kicking off. Please run again. Okay, it's effectively analyze the provided training session using McKinsey 7 fragment. We will systematically evaluate. Okay, no, it's giving us a generic response. It doesn't seem to have been picking up my transcripts. And okay, please run again based on the below transcripts. Let's see. Working away. Got a response from knowledge search. Started working on the task using knowledge search. Got a response from knowledge search. Yeah, so look, at this point in time, I'm not as happy with the output as what I'd like. So at this juncture, it's about doing some prompt engineering. So I want to double check too that it is picking up, because I'm looking for more specific feedback. Because like things like down here, it's got questions, but it hasn't given me recommendations. So let's go in once it's finished that run. What we can do now is look at the actual prompting for each of those instructions. And so we could add in here things like give specific feedback on specific examples of how to improve based on the framework. So let's get into some prompt engineering. So we'll go into the click to regenerate the output, and we'll change this down here and say always let's provide specific feedback with examples from the transcript on how to improve. It will generate that one. Now, when we change the prompting in here, it doesn't change it in the workflow. It's just in this particular run. So as a flow engineer, as you're adjusting your prompting and you get something that works really well, then go back and change that into the workflow so you can save it for the future. Okay, we've definitely got an improvement. So we've got a feedback example. The training objections were outlined at the beginning, but some participants felt they needed more context relating to our organization's current initiatives. Bingo. Now we're in the zone we want to be. We want that. So isn't that interesting? With just one line, we've now drawn out the specificity we need. So we could even go further. So evaluation. Session had a clear agenda, but clearer assignment of roles within the group activities could enhance participation. Great. Review. While the technology was functioning adequately, various participants suggested having a backup plan in case of technical difficulties. The shared values, the importance of teamwork and collaboration was emphasized. That's true a lot. Skills in analysis. So the trainers demonstrated strong subject knowledge, but could benefit from further skills in facilitating discussions. It was very one way. We did a lot of just massive information dumps. So that's very accurate. Then style, the training employed various multimedia effectively, though more interactive elements could appeal to kinesthetic learners. That's true. And then for staff, the trainer engaged with participants well. However, the staff could improve by incorporating more direct interaction opportunities. I didn't give them a lot, is the reality, because there's this big dump. Okay, so that's useful now. That's now getting us some benefits. So let's do the same. I'll just put that two things I'm going to put in the chat for you. One is that simple line that I use to enhance the outcome in the prompting. And the second thing I'll give you is hopefully I can drop it in here, is a text file in case you need that. Let's get it over to you. If you want a straight up text file, just dropping that in there as well. Okay, so I want to have a look at how this plays out in our critical thinking. And I'm going to add a bit more to this next prompt. Always provide specific feedback with examples from the transcript on how to improve. Also provide examples of questions that could be asked to evoke additional critical thinking. So I'm just going to add in the chat this prompt change that I've done. Let the chat go. Okay. Okay, let's run this one now. Generate it. A new version coming. And you can see why, like, the importance of refining your prompts, getting your workflows so that you can then get something really set, so you can get consistency of outcome. Okay, data collection, participant feedback. Okay, recommendations on clarity, enhance initial explanations about the training relevance and objectives to better connect with participants. It was quite a free-flowing sessions. That's good. Now, did we get the questions? Okay, summarized at the bottom. Cool. So examples of questions to evoke additional critical thinking. Can you explain how this concept relates to our specific challenges? And then accuracy. What criteria did you use to determine the reliability of this information? Precision. Can you provide specific examples that illustrates your point? How does relevance, how does this relate to your team's current projects and so forth? So that's cool. So as a trainer and instructional designer from an adult learning perspective, I could then now take these in my feedback to prep me for the future session. Now we've got our irresistible model expert, and I want to do the same thing on this one. I'm going to give it just that one line of always provide specific feedback with examples from the transcript on how to improve. Let's regenerate that. Okay. And so we could go through and get some more structure to this. I think this one in particular is going to need some more prompting to get a great outcome. Let's have a look at the action items. And there was a few action items in the session, but they weren't super clear, but it hasn't picked it up. So this one also will need some tweaking on the prompting to get the outcome that I'm after. Let's have a look at the final one, which is the high performance feedback coach. And it's used different frameworks here, Kirkpatrick's level of training evaluation, the ADDIE model, and it's actually just put in the question. So we didn't get enough of the analysis. So a bit more work to do on the prompting for this one also. And I could do something better for it. Must use examples from the transcription to ensure the reader specific context. To improve efficacy of the information provided. And paste that into chat so you got it. Here's my prompt change. Generate that one now. Now, the other thing I didn't do and something else we can do in these prompts is actually give an example, right? So the large language models work really well if they've got an example of the output you're after. So that's another step that we can do in the prompting. It's running this now. Now, interestingly, so all of the agents have got the ability to browse the internet. And I've just noticed that this agent at this point in time has decided that it wants to browse the internet for more information. Okay, let's have a look. Sample feedback. Okay, polls. Recommendation, provide supplementary materials. Model design, continuous recommendations. You know, what I'm going for here is because in our one-on-one tool that we use, I can talk to the AI agent after the meeting from its analysis and can get very specific into actual portions of the conversation. So that's really what my mind's going to. I want to know about, you know, what did I say as the trainer, and how could have I said that differently? So let's even put that in there and say, okay, must use examples from the transcription of what the main speaker was saying and how they could improve their approach. Now I'm going to cheat a little bit and say the main speaker, Matt Kesby here, because my name is in the in that transcription, and that's the benefit of, you know, you're doing online meetings, is you're going to get all the names of all the participants. So rather than trying to figure out who the main speaker is, I'm just going to put my name in this example, and which is also an interesting consideration, right? If you've got a trainer, you're going to make sure the right person has been selected for the analysis to be done on, although most of the time they're going to be the main speaker. So let's see how we go. Still using the browser tool, which is quite interesting. We might even want to put a guardrail around that one to not go out further. Okay. Certainly referenced by name and got the recommendations. And perhaps because in this one, we didn't have a lot of conversation going backwards and forwards, it isn't able to pull out a specific part with an interaction with someone else. Then that might be it. So we'll do some more testing on this one, see how it goes. So Ryan's got a good question here. Being that these are copied agents, when, if you update them, does it update ours also, or only copies the relevant at time of copy? it's at time of copy. Any changes we make won't be overwritten by your agent author. No, they won't be. That's your copy once you've got it. But what I'm going to do with this example that we've got here, two things. I'll do some refinement because we're going to use this on a regular basis, and the agents may get some refinement. I'll let you know if that's the case. So I'll update you on Flow Friday next week, right? Just to bring us all in alignment. And then currently we can share these workflows with the prompting. However, it doesn't save into your account. So, but we have got that feature coming in, I think if Jen's here, it might be this next sprint or the one after, where when we have these workflows, when we can share a copy of it to you, I'll show you how this works, and you can get it. However, it doesn't absorb it into your account. You can only just run it at that point in time. You can run it from here. And so the new version of this one coming is that you'll be able to absorb it in. So once I've gone through and recrafted all that prompt in and got it really nicely refined, I'll share it again so that you can access it this way, but then I'll share it one more time afterwards once you've got the ability to absorb it into your account. Well, good thing we didn't actually have to create those agents today, because we spent a lot of time on just playing around with prompt engineering. And I think that's a good space to be, right? I think many of our sessions that we do, it's all very straightforward. We don't run into some of these challenges, but in reality, you're going to run into the challenges as your agents are getting more and more advanced. You're trying to do more and more advanced activities to be able to really get that prompting structure right. So thank you, everybody. I hope you got some good learnings for today and some inspiration of ways you can apply AI agents into your organization. And as mentioned earlier, in upcoming sessions, we're going to start to connect these through to your business systems, right? So that you can get more of the agents working with full agency, working autonomously, which is the game for us in 2025. So thanks, everybody. Wishing you a wonderful weekend and looking forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.